Hello, humans. When watching Raya and the Last Dragon, I recommend having a box of tissues right next to you. Not because it's a sad movie. I mean, it is on a meta sense. But the reason why you need a box of tissues is because this movie has a message that's so on the nose that it's going to make it bleed. Raya and the Last Dragon is probably the worst animated Disney movie that we had in a while. And yes, I am aware of Wreck-It Ralph's Breaks the Internet's existence. But, well, even that movie had a couple of charming moments. If you've seen this movie, I definitely don't need to tell you what the message of this film is. It's about trust. They really hammer that home because it feels like, not entirely true, but it feels like that every form of dialogue within this movie is about trust. Every single form of dialogue. And it gets real annoying real fast. Doesn't feel supernatural. I mean, I guess the only reason the dialogue doesn't feel so hammed in is because the performances themselves, they do a decent enough job to make this dialogue sound natural. It's just like, man, because obviously there are some movies that have messages that are more easy to identify than others, but just how on the nose the message about trust is just insane. But it's one thing for a movie to have a super on the nose message. It's another thing for a movie to have a super on the nose message and still fuck it up. Because holy shit. So, for those of you who don't know, Sisu the dragon wants the main character girl, Raya, to trust one of the bad guys in the film. A bad guy that Raya knows is not super trustworthy because the said bad guy betrayed her long ago. And they fuck, how do I word this? This is SpizardLV. I'm doing this without a script. And so they schedule a meeting with said bad guy. The bad guy gives them an artifact they want. In return, they will help the bad guy get what she wants, which is just peace for her people. Which, that alone is fine. And, it seems like everything is actually going well, but then the bad guy pulls out a fucking crossbow on them. The film portrays it as if, she doesn't want to do this because she feels like she doesn't have a choice and such. Which, admittedly, it does somewhat successfully prove that, showing that, the bad guy's mother is misguided, and the bad guy's mother tells her that don't trust anybody and stuff like that. But then, Sisu, who's a moron, Sisu goes to the bad guy and says, "Oh, you can trust me and such." And I rewatched this clip for fact-checking, too. The bad guy was already pulling on the trigger of the crossbow before Raya intervenes and releases one of her chain weapons onto the the typical throw a chain weapon, gets the crossbow out of range and such. The crossbow fires and it shoots Sisu in the fucking heart. Now obviously it's a Disney film, it's a magic film and such, so Sisu's obviously not dead, or she'll come back or stuff like that. But yeah, the crossbow fucking kills Sisu. And Raya in the film is portrayed as the wrong for intervening in the first place, for firing that chain. Even though the bad guy was already pulling the fucking trigger. But enough people have already harped on about the terrible message. And many people say that's the only thing wrong with this film. The animation is beautiful and there are other stuff good about it. Do I agree? Not really, no. Everything about this movie just screams artificial, man. Like, this movie feels like it was not made by anybody who actually wanted to tell such story. The only thing I could think is real good is the animation. But, it's a big budget Disney film, so of course the animation is going to be good. And they don't really do much with the animation. It's not completely wasted. There are a couple of beautiful moments, like when Raya first wakes up Sisu, but other than that, yeah, nothing really stands out in the film. Other than Sisu's design, I say her design for a dragon is pretty unique, but other than that, everything is mundane. Before I elaborate on my point of everything's artificial, the only other thing that I could think of is decent is the world building. As far as I know, it's functionable. You know, there's not any super contradictions, not any that I noticed anyway. I could be wrong. The reason why I say this film screams artificial is because it feels like this film just ticks away the boxes of what a modern Disney movie needs to be. You know, it feels like the only reason like every character is all joking and stuff is because that's part of the quota. Because none of the characters are super memorable, in spite the fact that they're all witty and such. It's just, yeah, not a great film. I've seen better.